Hey everyone, welcome to video 3 of the Retrocession Basics series. We've already covered relaxation and locating, and now we're moving on to sweeping integration. As a recap, or for those who are coming into the series on this video, retrocession is the process I used to change my life. I was at the end of my rope, constant panic attacks every single day, anxiety driving me into the ground, frequent depressive episodes. And then in the depths of that despair, I discovered retrocession. Retrocession is a simple process. Typically, someone leads another person through retrocession. But here on YouTube, I'm doing what I call asynchronous retrocession, where I guide you asynchronously. You watch the video, you follow along, and I hope you get some benefit from it. Now, it is important to note that asynchronous retrocession is not as effective as in-person retrocession or even retrocession over a platform like Zoom. But that's okay, because you can certainly get some symptom relief and maybe even some genuine healing through the process on YouTube. So we talked about relaxing. Now, relaxing is not necessary for retrocession. I said that in the relaxation video. Some people, especially with experience in retrocession, can go straight to the locating phase. And maybe you're one of those people, and that's great if you are. But most people are going to need to do some relaxation first. Second phase, locating, is where we locate the event that we're looking for. So typically this starts with a sensation in the body. So my initial retrocession on myself involved finding the origin, locating the origin of the severe anxiety that felt like it was crushing my chest. Then we move on to the third phase, which is what we're talking about in this video, sweeping integration. This is an incredibly simple process. And as I said at the close of the last video on locating, it's not only effective in retrocession, sweeping integration can just feel good. And the other beautiful thing is it doesn't just help us with events in the long past. If we're going through something right now, sweeping integration can help us calm ourselves and integrate our current circumstances into our life and take away some of the distress. And so we're not going through full retrocession in this video. We will do that in the next video, but we're still going to work with sweeping integration. And what I encourage you to do, I'm going to put some time markers in the video so that you can come back to this video and work through sweeping integration a few times and get some practice. Because before you move on to the next video, it would be great if you have the ability to, one, locate events from your past. So working through that last video on locating, doing it a few times, trying examples on your own. So I gave, I believe, 3 different examples in that video. And you can come up with your own. Now, I would encourage you when you're doing locating practice to choose positive or neutral experiences. And those positive or neutral experiences could be an emotion like joy. It could be something like revisiting a time that you were moving quickly. So it doesn't have to be emotional. And for practice, it can be great to choose kind of physical things like that. It can be a lot easier as well because you don't usually have an emotional charge associated with those. So now, sweeping integration. There's a couple formats for it. There was the version that I used from the beginning when I was working through retrocession with myself. And then there's a new version or a couple of new versions. And we're going to really primarily focus on the first version. It's very simple. And I'm going to demonstrate with my hand. So when we're doing this later in the video, you'll close your eyes, but I need you to keep your eyes open now so you can see what I'm doing. In general, you're going to imagine there is a clock hand, the center at your chest, the one end of the clock hand at your chest. It's like a second hand. The end of the second hand is up to about the top of your head. You're going to imagine that clock hand moving around your body. Simple, right? Doesn't need to look like a clock hand. In fact, you're probably going to imagine it as a light beam, something like that. But to start, we're just imagining. We're seeing it in the imagination. Now, if you want to close it, as you bring that clock hand around, you're going to feel it through the body, not just seeing it. you're going to feel it moving through the body. Most importantly, when it comes up to your head, it comes around the side of your head. Feel it activating first the left side of your brain. Then as it moves through, feel it activating the right side of your brain. And then it comes around, you feel it move through the body, it comes back, and you feel it through left side and then right side again. In my opinion, that's an important part of sweeping integration. Feeling the brain being activated as it moves through. So what does it mean to activate the brain? Well, there's a couple ways you can look at it, or feel it is more like it. So close your eyes for a moment. You don't need to see me for this part. Now, bring your mind to the left side of your brain. It doesn't need to be exact, just know left side of the brain. Just notice it. Sensations really in the left side of the head. Now, feel like the left side of your brain is like a balloon and it gets inflated a little bit. Just feel it get a little bigger. Maybe a little more energetic. It's going to be different for everyone. Just try a couple of variations there. Feel it inflate. Feel it get brighter. Feel it get more energetic, like there's static electricity on the left side of your head. And then once you get that, take it to the other side, to the right side of the head, and feel that side of the brain activate. And it can take a little bit of practice. If you need to, pause the video before you move on. Really feel it. That, I believe, is the most important part of this. Really feel the side of the brain activating and then the other side. Good. Now, let's go back to the sweeping. Imagining that clock hand starting at the center of the chest. The clock hand comes out to about the top of the head. It starts to sweep through the right side of your brain. You feel it start to activate that side of the brain. It comes around. It's coming around through the shoulder. It comes around through the abdomen, comes up through the other shoulder. Now you're starting to activate the left side of the brain, and it comes up through the middle and activates the right side again. And you come over and over again, start to get that sweeping coming through over and over, really feeling it moving through the body and most importantly through the head, activating each side of the brain. And just keep that up for a little bit. Maybe pause the video, run through it for a little while, see how it feels. Most importantly, see how it feels emotionally. How does it change your thoughts? How does it feel in the body? Now, when you're ready, we'll come back and I'll talk about another form of sweeping integration. All right, so if you paused the video and came back, now we're going to talk about the second form of sweeping integration that I developed. This one is a little bit more challenging and it can take a lot more practice for some people. And I don't know that it's necessarily more effective in every situation, but it can be, depending on the person, depending on the situation. So for this version, we're not imagining anything moving through the body. We're sticking with the head now. And what we're going to do is you're imagining a figure 8 that wraps around one side of the brain, then comes up through the middle, wraps around the other side of the brain, comes back, wraps through the middle. Now we're going to imagine a dot of energy, a ball of energy moving through that pattern. And as it comes through, as on the first version of sweeping integration, as that energy ball moves up through the head, we feel the side of the brain activate. And then it comes around under the jaw, up through the center, feel the other side of the brain activate, comes around, comes up through center, feeling the other side of the brain activate. So this figure 8 is going to trace through the head. Most importantly, you're feeling the side of the brain activating as you sweep through it. So practice that. See which one feels right for you. I would encourage you to start with the clock hand version, the version that sweeps around through the body and the head. Try that for a while, see if it works, and then maybe choose to move on to the other version, the figure 8 version. Now you may have some questions. I'm talking about sweeping through the right side of the head and then the left. Can you go the other direction? Now here's the thing. It depends on the person which one is going to be more effective. So what I want you to do is close your eyes again. You don't need to see me. And then do that sweep, the clock hand version. Sweep it to the right first. Bring it up and around. Come through the left. Do that a couple times. Then when the sweep comes up to the center of the head, pause and take it back the other direction. Notice, is one of those directions easier, more intuitive? Is one of those directions, do you feel it more than the other? Does one of them feel like it has resistance to it? So only you can decide this, but take your time playing with both directions and see which one works for you. What I would encourage you to do before the next video comes out or before you move on to the next video, really practice. Well, first, relaxing. Second, locating, going back to those 2 videos. And third, this video, sweeping integration. You can combine all 3 if you'd like, but I would encourage you to do one at a time, often in bed before you go to sleep at night, maybe when you wake up in the morning, if you take a nap. All 3 of these processes, all 3 parts of the retrocession process can be very relaxing. So if you need a break during the day, you could even be at your desk at work, just close your eyes, do some sweeping integration practice. Eventually, you'll really feel it moving through your head, moving through your body. You might even see it. I suppose you could even hear it, though I think typically it's the sensation in the body and the sight of it, the imagination of that clock hand or that ball of energy moving around the head. So keep that up for a while. And then when you're ready, move on to the next video where we tie all 3 pieces together for a full asynchronous retrocession session. I hope to see you there. Thanks for joining me.